All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. The Jacksonville Jinx has continued with the heartbreaking 37-30 loss to the winless Jaguars. Now, one win will take you on the emotional roller coaster and give you our Mayflower Move and our Star game. So, let's go. All In Colts.
I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam in person. We are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep.
We did it. We're here. You're back from college, fall break.
Yep.
So we get to be back together.
Yeah, watch the game together for the first time this season.
Yep.
It was definitely like, yeah. You saw where I was and everything like that.
The level of At one point there was a I hate football. Not just there was an I hate Jaguars. There was also I hate football.
I said I hate football sometimes. Let me clarify. I said I hate football sometimes.
I didn't hear that part. So, but there's a saying that says it's the hope that kills us, and that's definitely how it felt today. There was lots of hope thrown around.
Yes, there was.
This, that, this hope, that hope. Yeah. Hope is here. Hope is all lost. Hope is alive. Hope is gone.
Hope is officially gone.
Yeah.
All right. Injuries are only Will Fries with a tibia injury, right? Tibia.
Yeah. You got to imagine it, like that's all that was said. Tibia. That's the largest. No, that's the bone down. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Liam. Soon, not yet. On the path.
Yes.
That's down by the shin, right?
I believe so.
Like you got two bones, and the tibia is the bigger one.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so if you're talking about a bone, that's a problem. You got to imagine it's broken.
Mm-hmm.
And that's season ending. Tough break.
He played amazing so far.
Yeah, I mean, my quarter of the season MVP is now the rest of the season gone. So, well, let's go through the narrative of this roller coaster of a game. It was an exercise in too little, too late.
Yeah,
Meaning there was too little done, too late in the game.
Yep. Give us too much hope. Hope. After scoring a touchdown on the first drive, the Colts only managed a field goal the rest of the half, while the Jaguars made 2 field goals, and they also scored a touchdown on top of that.
Yep.
So we went into the half going 10-13 Jaguars up.
Right. Not the end of the world.
No.
Totally doable. Not a big deal. The rough part was that the last Jacksonville field goal came on a fumble by Joe Flacco that was returned into field goal range by Josh Hines-Allen.
Yes, exactly.
So that was a little rough. But then the Colts did hold off the double whammy, what we call it, with the Jaguars getting the second half kickoff. So they scored the field goal, but they didn't score coming back from the half, and so that prevents what we call the double whammy.
Yep.
They just went 3 and out, so that was helpful.
Yes, that was helpful. Then things really heated up in the fourth quarter. Skip over the fourth quarter as Jacksonville literally started to run away with it with Bigsby.
There it is.
And Christian Kirk.
Yep. But the Colts answered and brought hope back with 3 deep shots to Alec Pierce and 2 scores within 1 minute and 47 seconds.
Mind you, one of those catches was a touchdown from him.
Yep.
One of them almost was a touchdown, got down on the one, and the other one he caught while he was already on the ground.
Yeah, he tipped it to himself. He does self-tip drill, and correct me if I'm wrong. Did they challenge it, or they didn't end up challenging
They
it?
almost did.
Yeah, they had a player go down so they could take an extra look at it. Pretty much is what it was. It was a fake injury to give them more time to realize that he kept everything inbounds.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
that left enough time for the Jaguars to go down.
Yeah.
For a field goal, and 17 seconds was not enough for the Colts as opposed to other teams. Chiefs, 13 seconds. Patrick Mahomes. Yep. We all know about that.
Yep. So that's the narrative. Let's go to the stat sheet. Joe Flacco went 33 for 44. That's 75%, and 359 and 3 touchdowns.
Really, really solid game from Flacco. Trevor Lawrence also had a really good game. Happened to be his birthday. He threw for 371 yards on 28 of 34, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yep. Tank Bigsby killed the Colts again. Not his first time doing this. 101 yards and 13 carries and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
2 touchdowns.
Very, very not fun to see him do well. I mean, good for him, obviously, but bad for us.
Yep.
ETN was a dual threat, both in the air and the ground, with 60 yards combined between the two of them.
Yep. Trey Sermon, Tyler Goodson made a good 1-2 punch with 38 and 26 respectively on the ground, and Sermon had a TD on to put on top of it.
Yep. Goodson and Sermon also added 31 and 25 through the air.
Yes, but the stars in the receiving game were Josh First Downs, keeping the chains moving with 69 yards on 9 catches.
69 catches.
That'd be
a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah, that would be
that'd be a record.
Yeah, pretty much.
And AD Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, finally showing up with 4 grabs for 38 yards, and he completed a pass.
Yep.
About 24 yards, I think it was.
Yep. He had a better completion rate than Joe Flacco, 1 for 1. 100%. Yep. Then Alec Pierce decided to show up finally in the fourth quarter. They finally got the ball, and he had that 1 touchdown and 134 yards on only 3 catches, making him number 1 in the NFL this season with the most catches of 50+ on the season. So there you go.
Huge game.
Yeah.
For
and you said,
Alec.
Like whenever he went up for that first one, I kept remembering what you had said right here, that they just give him the ball, throw it up for him. I guarantee you he'll get it. And on that first one, because he literally went up and stole it from the, completely contested 50-50 ball.
Yep.
So
yeah, huge props to Pierce.
He
showed up big. But then Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
Had 122 yards and a touchdown. So I don't know how many receptions he had exactly, but he had obviously more than Pierce. And a lot of those yards, it was an 85-yard touchdown that he had. So a lot of those came from just that.
Yeah, I think he had 6 catches.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk added another 88 yards, and a lot of that was on one play in the right at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I believe.
Yeah.
Defensively.
Yep. EJ Speed fell short, sadly, of his NFL record-setting consecutive game of 10+ tackles in a game. Still had 7, though, which isn't terrible.
Yep. Zaire Franklin had 10 tackles.
Yep. Latu was way more involved with 6 tackles.
But the Colts managed no sacks and no QB hits.
Yep.
So what are some of your intangibles at work here? We've given people all the layout and the lowdown of all the things that they could go out there and see for themselves. But to you, what were some of the intangibles that made the difference in this game?
All right. First things first. I'm gonna talk about the running game.
Okay.
That's kind of my thing.
Yep.
I'm gonna tap into your thing a little bit.
You go for it.
We won the turnover battle,
Yeah.
but we ran the ball, but we didn't keep running the ball. Not as much as we should have.
Down 10, down 2 touchdowns.
I get that, but early on, you continue to run the ball. We kind of got away from it, which Joe Flacco is very accurate in what he does. He's very methodical, and the way he goes down the field, the way he throws the ball, he's very good at being a quarterback.
Yeah.
Nothing against that. We just should have ran the ball more. I get it's Sermon and Goodson, but still should have ran the ball more.
But they also did what we talked about also, where you do the play action and then pass it right back to them. Isn't the screen game the extension of the run game? Therefore,
it is the extension.
You
but
can count their receiving yards as well as their.
No, you don't count receiving yards. It's just strictly rushing yards.
All right.
So we just needed.
So you're lying about the extension of the run game.
No, it is the extension of the run game. It just receiving yards aren't rushing yards.
Okay. All right.
So we need to run the ball more. Not a ton more. I think if you just run the ball more, you hit one good run, then it's a threat again. And then you're like, okay, now we can pass more freely.
I gotcha.
I feel like that's kind of how we were able to throw the ball so easily moving down the field that first drive is because they expected more of a run game.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, the opposing rushing attack. Anytime we have let over a 100-yard rusher, we have lost the game.
Yeah.
We have let the 2 games that we won, we let over 300 yards in passing. We did that again today.
Yep.
It's the combination of so much passing yards plus so much rushing yards because you have to deal with both.
Yeah.
You stop the run game, you limit them to be one-dimensional, and then they have to throw the ball.
Right.
Now, I don't know what happened with Trevor Lawrence. He was playing really well. Now, the deepest I don't know if this is actually correct, but I'm pretty sure the deepest ball that he threw today was intercepted by Nick Cross. I'm fairly confident that's what it was.
I would say so. Yeah.
So he just was a yak merchant today.
Yeah.
371 yards off of yak, which props to him for letting. That's kind of what Mahomes does sometimes too. Mahomes can air it out, as we saw with Xavier Worthy last week.
Yeah.
He does that a lot too. But you can't let over 100 yards in rushing. I think we limit that. We have a much better shot at winning that game because they controlled a decent amount of the clock at the end of the game.
Yeah.
We won the time of possession, but they controlled the clock whenever it mattered most.
I got you. Yeah.
So,
right in the last 4 minutes of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was, if you're Jacksonville, all you had to do is get there in the spot, and then you get to control the game because of how good your run game was.
Yeah.
That's kind of mine.
Yeah. It's tough because they won the turnover battle. You win the time of possession, which they had not done at all this season, even in the wins. So the first time the Colts actually win the time of possession, they actually lose the game.
Yep.
You could say, well, explosive plays, because it seemed like Jacksonville had a lot of explosive plays, but the Colts had maybe just as many, maybe not quite as many, but almost just as many explosive plays. They were just kind of bunched up toward the end because they needed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it left me going, what is the intangible difference here in the game?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to 2 things. One of the things I said in our preview was you have to pressure Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. They weren't able to get him uncomfortable hardly at all.
Mm-hmm.
He could just sit there and do what he wanted. And I said, if that's the case, it's going to be a long day. And that's what it was. The other thing is, with the yak that you were talking about, missed tackles. It felt like in that play to Bigsby and a little bit in that play to Sermon or to Christian Kirk, that we were back to the Green Bay tackling fiasco, where we weren't wrapping up, we weren't bringing down, we were just bouncing them around and hoping they went down. And when your name is Tank, you're probably not going to go down easy. And then to me, a big one. And this is tough to tell because it didn't happen toward the end of the game. And so I always hesitate to bring this kind of thing up as a big difference maker simply because you don't know how the complexion would have changed because of it and things like that. But the Mo Alley Cox drop touchdown pass on third down when they needed it changed from 7 to 3 in an eventual 3-point game.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is.
Now, we got 2 touchdowns quick, late because we needed it. So there's no telling that would have happened had we not needed it quite as desperately. So that's why I hesitate to bring that. But we were talking about during the game. Is that Mo's fault or is it Joe's fault? That touchdown pass.
Definitely Mo Alley Cox. Joe Flacco. Okay, first off, he's a vet. He's gonna make the throw where only he can put it. So he put it where only Mo's hands. Not just fingertips. It was his whole fingers moved because he missed it. If you can do that, you can reach out a bit further and catch the ball.
It literally just kind of fell through his hands.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking too. That it looked to me that he had to turn his head from one shoulder to the other, and I think in doing so, kind of lost the ball a bit.
I mean, hey, it is hard to do that. I mean, I remember putting pads and helmet on for my first time, and actually working back shoulder catches and stuff. It was so hard. I could not pull the ball in whatsoever. So I was at the point where I was jumping and spinning in the air to catch the ball because that was just easier for me. And it was hard to put my arms up and stuff. So it's definitely hard to track the ball with a helmet on, especially a deep ball that's, you're kind of going straight away from it. So you kind of have to float to one side and kind of choose that. But then you lose your position on the defender and stuff. So it's definitely hard to do. But
if it hits you in the hands,
if it goes through your hands, you better catch that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to catch the ball with your pinkies together. If your pinkies are together, you're going to make the catch. Is work.
There you go. That's quality breakdown. I like that. All right, then. What was your Mayflower move of the game? Your game-changing pinnacle. There's really quite a bit of options here.
Yeah, there definitely is.
I mean, because the game seemed to go.
Very fun game to watch, though. In the grand scheme of if you're just a football fan, you don't care about either teams. Great game to watch.
Right. Yeah.
Colts are down 14, and within 2 minutes they're tied.
Yep. If you're a Panthers fan, you would have loved this game.
Yes.
Because you haven't seen one of these in quite some time.
Yeah. I think my Mayflower move has to be Tank Bigsby. Goodness, I can't say his name. His run that he breaks 3 tackles from 3 of our best defenders, that being Blackman. I think Franklin was one, and I don't know who it was someone on the line. I think it was Latu. I think it was
Latu, Speed, and Blackman. Yeah.
I think those three guys missed the tackle. Now Latu didn't have as good of a chance at it as the others because he just kind of had one arm there.
Mm-hmm.
Still, he's at the end. He needs to be able to make that tackle.
Yeah.
But he's a rookie as well. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Speed, though, is your top tackler, or something. He needs to be able to make the play. Blackman is considered a vet on the Colts team. He needs to be able to make the play. Bigsby just goes for a touchdown, and that puts us from just in the blink of an eye from down a touchdown to down 2 touchdowns and having to be desperate and all that stuff.
Yep.
When I was talking about it the whole time, I'm like, okay, you stop him here, then you get a touchdown. And if you manage clock well and you just run timeout, if I were you, I'd go for 2 because I don't want to play overtime in Duval. So, I mean, and they had been really good at converting those short yard plays. I don't know what it is, but AR, it seems like you would be able to do that a lot easier with AR, but with Joe Flacco, it seemed almost effortless. We would get in those 3rd and 2s. I think we went for like 1 or 2 4th downs, and we got both of them.
Yeah.
So we were converting those short plays. So I think that was just a big factor in all that.
Yeah. I agree. I think that was gonna be mine, but I'll give people a little bit of something else here, just to vary it up. I hate to do this because it was so early in the game, so I'm not. But it could have. I mean, when you're talking about a 3-point game and Flacco fumbled, it ended up giving up 3 points right before half. There's kind of the difference in your game.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is also the Duvernay punt return.
Yeah.
You weren't even paying attention, and I went. You looked at me, and my face just was like, and you were like, "Wait, what happened?"
Mm-hmm. And I should replay it.
And
oh my goodness, okay.
Because that led to Bigsby's first touchdown that changed it from a 3-point, like it was at halftime, into a 10-point lead.
Yep.
With 7:13 left in the 3rd quarter. Then there was Christian Kirk's 61-yard play at the beginning of the 4th. That and the Colts. The frustrating part about that was the Colts had the Jags backed up to 2nd and 24 after a penalty and a Zaire Franklin stop on ETN.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard me doing this, but like as soon as they ran the 2nd and 24 play, I was like, "Oh, it's 2nd and 24. We have them backed up. This is actually a really good spot for us to start making a comeback." And then Christian Kirk does that, and that's what my whole sentence was. But I said, 2nd and 24. It's a pretty good spot for us. And then before I could say anything else, Trevor Lawrence threw that, and Christian Kirk caught it. I just stopped in my tracks. I'm like, I can't say anymore. Like,
nope.
That's like a caster's curse type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I would give you something entirely different, because when it came down to it, the Colts came back from all that stuff and tied the game up. Mm-hmm. Right? They came back from both of those hugely deflating things, because if this game goes slightly different at the end, Pierce's touchdown reception at the end there, that's it.
That's the game winner.
That's the difference maker. That's the Mayflower move. Because really, it could have been 2, other than a couple feet getting tied up. That'd have been 2 AP touchdowns. But all the defense had to do was come up with a stop. And so, but yet Jacksonville somehow did almost exactly the same thing that Houston did.
Yep.
To ice the game, and did an out route. And Christian Kirk ran it fabulously, went just past the marker. Now, it was not as great of a pass or as great of a catch as it was in with Houston, but the coverage was softer, and because the Colts were playing prevent rather than press man, and it came back to bite them, and that was kind of the difference maker to me. Yeah. So within the last few minutes, that thing kept the drive alive, kept them moving. At that point, it was kind of too late to do much. So who was your star of the game?
I'm not going to think about it too hard. Alec Pierce. I mean, I don't want to go against the Colts in this. It was my mom described it as it was a good loss. Considering circumstances, it wasn't necessarily a good loss. But I see what she means. It was a hard-fought comeback from a lot of stuff type of loss. I think it has to be Alec Pierce, just because, 3 receptions for 134 yards. Looked like he did in the first week. No one expected it. Probably had a big day in fantasy, which we'll talk about later in the week.
Yep.
So I mean, huge props to Alec for doing that.
Yeah. I would love to give it to a Colt, but the Colts didn't win. And going off of your Mayflower move, I'm going to say Tank Bigsby. He scored 2 touchdowns. He had the huge run to pretty much ice it. Yes, the Colts came back, but without, without that play, that's a big difference maker. So,
yeah.
And not to mention, like I said before, he has been a Colts killer a couple different times. So, yeah, so that is my star of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is it for today. South teams. Later this week, we'll have our Unstable Pick 6 Fantasy Stable and our preview of the Colts and Titans as they go to Nashville.
This is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.